I'm back. The only reason why I made up today is because I had an interview today. I feel like every other day you can look regular smuggler, but when you have these Zoom meetings all the time, you at least look presentable. I was in a training all week, and so it was like annoying because at some point one of the presenters, he always wanted you to put your video on, and I'm like, come on. And so you had to just you had to be mindful, saying of how you're looking and things like that. You didn't have to make up your face or anything like that, but I try to look presentable because it was like over 100 something people in the training, and then there was like these big top trainers, facilitators doing the presentations and things like that. So you just want to make sure that you look presentable. So today I had an interview. So the situation like right now with the job situation is, so I got hired. If you had watched another video, I did get hired teaching at a school nearby. Well, they, because of our awesome governor, there's been a budget cut. They cut the school budgets 14%, which is like $60 million, something like that. So it's like one of those things where, okay, it doesn't make any sense because you have educators and you're going to need educators. I'll put it this way. Since COVID, everybody realizes how necessary and needed teachers are, right? But then your thank you is cutting our budget. The budget that is already small to begin with. Like we already working with very less than what we need, but you're going to cut our budget. Okay, which means teachers, loss of not supplies necessarily, but materials, resources, and things like that. So it's just, it sucks. So at this point, I was hired before he made that cut, but the principal told me that right now, because I emailed her or texted her and I was like, I haven't got any news from HR yet. So, what's the deal? And so at this point, HR is on hold. They frozen the hiring process because they're trying to figure out their budgets, and that means how many teachers you can have in a building, how many assistants and paras and all that kind of stuff. So I believe in Tennessee by June 30th, July 1st is when the new fiscal year happens. And so that's when they know what their budgets are going to be looking like. And so then, when it comes to if they want to hire more people or if they got to make some changes or if they want to start Title I, money for books and supplies and things like that. So it's it's an interesting time. So right now I'm on hold. I don't really know what that means at this point. The lady that I'm supposed to be taking her job, she has a coaching position at an elementary school. She's supposed to be, they're supposedly work it out to where she's continuing to be that coach. So I don't think that's supposed to really affect me anyway in my job, but you never know. So the principal just said if she understood if I found a job before she found anything out, but she really wanted me there, and I'd love to be there. I did have an interview today, and this is for something totally unrelated to teaching. It's basically, it's Summit Learning, and it's a position where I would be a success school manager, where I would have 25 to 30 schools under me, where I would be oversee and train them in the program, and then I would oversee the implementation and things like that. Check the data to make sure that everything is going the way it's supposed to, and then check in every 2 weeks with these schools to make sure that it's straight. Basically, if things look kind of like things are dropping, then I would, contact their schools and say, okay, what do we need to do to make sure that this program is successful? So, and it's project-based learning program. It's all web-based, so it'll be interesting. And there's travel involved and such. So yeah, it'd be cool. I don't know how much the pay is though. That's another thing. The guy that's interviewing me, he has nothing to do with that. So obviously HR would be involved. So hopefully if I were to get that position, it'd be a situation where I would be paid either at or above what I'm being paid right now. So Because if that's the case, then I would definitely go toward that route because it's remote. It's working, from home and stuff. So we'll see. I always feel like when you just let things be, it'll work out one way or the other. When you stress out about things, things don't work. I'm starting to learn that. I was like, when you like try to squeeze, it's like when I say trying to squeeze blood out of a turnip, I never understood what that meant. But it's like, I feel like when you're trying to make something happen, it doesn't happen. I guess is what it's saying. When you are worried and you try to like force things, it just never happens. If you just kind of go with the flow, I feel like the universe is like, okay, you're cool. I read a verse. It's in Luke. I don't know if it's Luke 19 or something. I have to, look back at it. But basically, it's about Jesus is speaking, and he's talking about how you need to consider the lilies. And the lilies are these beautiful flowers, and how they are beautifully dressed, basically. And his whole premise was like, do you see how beautiful they are? Not even King Solomon, who was the wealthiest person alive, think, whoever the top billionaire or trillionaire, whoever person that is, think of him plus them, okay? So he's like, consider him, because if these lilies, these flowers were arrayed so much more grand than King Solomon, don't you think that if I basically take care of these flowers, you know what I'm saying? If there's this grass that I basically created and I clothe it and I, take such care with, clothing the grass, and the grass actually just gets cut and burned, thrown away. Don't you think, if I worry about that simple little detail is the grass and these lilies, how much more do you think that I would take care of you? Or how God would take care of you? Or make sure that you're taken care of? They don't worry about, birds don't worry about their food. It's just there. It's available. You know what I'm saying? These flowers, they're going to be there. Grass is going to be there. So it's just like, he'd make sure that they're taken care of. So same thing. They're not even living like human beings. So if he's taking care of these things, right, plants and animals, how much more do you think he'll take care of us? So you gotta take it like that. And he was saying, oh, you little faith. It's like you gotta have faith. I think that's what, at the end of the day, he's just basically saying, the more faith you have, he's gonna open it up for you. The less faith you have, he's gonna be like, well, why would I give somebody something if they don't even believe in me? You know what I'm saying? If you don't believe in me, why would I give you and reward you? So that's kind of how I look at it. So I'm just like, it's going to happen one way or the other. He's always taken care of me all these years. I've never had to be in a situation where, even at my brokest moment, there's always been a way. He's always provided a way. So it's like, I got to keep remembering those things. It's like, I can't forget them, because when I forget them, like, I go back and having to repeat that cycle again. It's like these lessons in life, they're karmic lessons. If you don't learn them, you are doomed to repeat them over and over again. And it's like, I don't want to have to repeat these things. I just don't. Get the lesson and move on. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you're in school, you get your lesson, you pass it, go on to the next lesson. So that's kind of how I feel. I don't want to have to keep repeating, the third grade. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, so that's pretty much where that's going. It's the same thing, I feel like, just any part of your life, aspect of your life. Even with me in the dating life. The guy that I'm talking to now, it's like, I don't pressure him, and I don't want to pressure myself or the situation. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It's going to be whatever it's going to be. Anytime I put too much thought into things to the point where I get anxiety, I get scared, nervous, worried, all the above, it just blows up in my face, right? Because what happens is I pass out that anxiety onto the person, is what happens. So for example, I'm dating somebody, and they said they're going to call me, right? And let's say they're going to call me. They said, okay, I'll call you when I get home. I get off at 6:30. I'll call you around 7. Okay, cool. So 7 o'clock hits. I'm looking at the clock. 7:01, 7:02, 7:03, 7:04. God forbid it get to be 7:10, 7:15. Now all the world comes to the end. He said he was gonna call me at 7. He didn't call me at 7. You know. And on the outside looking in, it's dumb. It's dumb. But in your mind and your spirit and your heart, you're just like, he said he was going to call me at 7. Why is he calling me at 7? Is there somebody else? What's going on? He doesn't really like me. He said he was going to do this. If he really liked me, he would do this. But you know what I'm saying? Why did he say what he was going to say? Is he a liar? Can he be dependable? Do I trust him? You can think of all of these things in your mind instead of just thinking he probably got held up at some point. Maybe he had to get gas on the way home. Maybe there was an accident. Maybe there was some other situation. If he has kids, they get in your face and they start asking a million questions. They get all whatever. You know what I mean? Things happen. So you got to think of it as if you're in that situation, right? You promise to call somebody at 8 o'clock and your kid's like, I'm not going to bed at 8 o'clock. I'm going to stay up, mommy. What's this? I need some water, mommy. I'm hungry, mommy. I got a potty, mommy. So like, 9 o'clock, 9:30, and I have all intended purposes of calling, right? But all these things have happened. Am I a creep? No. Am I a jerk? No. I didn't know. I didn't mean to. I know I said this, but I didn't mean it. Like in a sense of, I didn't mean for all of these things to happen to where I don't call you. You know what I mean? I have all intentions. So I think the best way to think of it is this. You think the best about the person. All their best intentions. You know what I'm saying? Even if they mess, excuse me, they say they're going to do it and they don't. Like, don't assume the worst about a person until they prove they're a bad person. You know what I mean? Don't do it because you don't want somebody doing that to you. And that's kind of how I'm pretty much looking at it at this point. You know, at this point, he tells me he's going to call me and he calls me. You know what I mean? And I don't really care about what time he calls me. He just says he is, and he usually does at some point. And I don't think about it one way or the other. And so I just stopped thinking through things. I'm not thinking about, okay, are we going to be boyfriend and girlfriend? Are we going to, it's like, if I start going that route, this is what happens. And this is something my brother used to tell me. He used to say, DDTR, don't define the relationship. He used to say it to me all the time, DDTR, Nessa, DDTR. He would just shake his head. Because I would get in these situations especially when I was younger, and he would say, as soon as you try to define a relationship, it all goes downhill because you're pressuring that person into doing something that they probably already want to do, or maybe not at that time. But when you start putting pressure on people because of your own anxieties and things like that, you're passing that low vibrational negativity, negative energy to them, and that's a turn off. Turn off. Okay, you got to be positive, you know what I mean? Because that's what draws a person in the first place. So when you start being negative, it's like, whoa, who is this person? You know what I mean? The person that I remember was not this, you know what I mean? So it's like, you got to continue to keep your anxieties to yourself and deal with them. You know, when they start coming up and you start feeling them, push them back down. You know, put some positive things in place of it. You know, and so like that's basically what I've been doing, you know what I'm saying? And so as far as don't define the relationship, so it's just let things be, let things happen natural. Because that's kind of what happened with the older guy. I did like him, I did, but there were some things that he said that I just didn't like personally. Like, I don't like when I ask you like what type of female you like, you tell me you like a freak. TF, you know what I mean? I'm like, why would you say that? I don't know you that well. Like, why? And it's like, it just made me want to like throw up in my mouth. I'm like, that's not attractive. Like, why would you say that? You would, like, to me, the normal thing to say is, you know, oh, somebody that has big, beautiful eyes, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, tall, like whatever, you know, you might have. You can lie. You can even say someone that looks like you. I don't, you know, but it's like that just, ugh. And then it was like the comments like about relationship, you know, it was like he was already, like I said, 10 steps ahead in the process. Like, I like at this point where me and this dude are going, because it's like there's no pressure at all. We're just letting things be. Like, I'm just like, you know, he'll, like today he texted me and he was like, you want to go to the gun range or, you know, the driving range and stuff? Because I forgot, like, I didn't think he remembered, but I had said, like, I got this gun a while back, and I've been wanting to shoot it for the longest because I hadn't been to the shooting range in a long time. And he has the same type of gun, 9mm, and he's in the military, so it's nothing to him. But he said he'd been wanting to go to an outdoor range, and so I was like, so we have these conversations, and in the movie we were watching, it was called Didnt. It's a good movie. It's on Netflix. It's really good. And so, like, there's actually a scene where they're doing, the shooting range and stuff. So I was like, oh, that'd be so much fun, Well, today he texts me and he's like, do you want to go to the shooting range this weekend? And he said, well, I know you have your kids, so maybe about the next weekend. And I just thought that was really sweet because it was like, he remembered. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love stuff like that. It's like when guys remember things, when they take the time to listen, you know what I'm saying, and whatever is important to you or something you like, and they take it and they, make decisions like that. I always have to be the one to say, do you want to go to the driving range? Do you want to go to hiking? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? You know what I'm saying? It's like I always had to take the reins. Like, I always had to take the reins on everything. And I don't know, like, as a female, you want to be a female. You want the guy to make decisions, or even if they ask your opinion and then they make the final decisions. Like, to me, I like that old school mentality, personally. I don't think it's a right or wrong way. I just think it's just best for me. I feel like a woman when a guy takes control of a situation. I love when they make decisions. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you want to go here? Sure. Okay. On Saturday, let's meet up and go, blah, blah, blah. Perfect. Thank you. I don't know. Like, I like it. You know what I mean? Like I said in the last video, it's a breath of fresh air. Because it's just so, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I needed something like this in my life because for so long, as a teacher, we make so many decisions a day. I think it said like between 2,000 to 5,000 decisions a day. Like, it's a godly amount. You know what I mean? All day. Because you're answering questions. Kids ask you a million questions a day. You have to tell them yes, no, whatever. And it's just a lot. And if you have kids, it's even more. So I just love when someone can, like, for once say, hey, let's do this. One less decision I have to make in my life. I think the thing that frustrated me the most with my ex-husband was that I felt like I had to make so many decisions that he could have easily made himself, but he would just pass them off to me. And, he would say, I would say, hey, do you want to go here? What do you want to do? Well, do you want to do this? I don't know. What do you want to do? And it would just be a circle around and around and around and around. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. What do you want to do? And it's just like, can you just be decisive one time? Just once. You know what I mean? I don't mind making decisions. I don't mind coming up with plans. But it was always like that. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it just gets exhausting. It's just like, do you really want to be in this relationship? Like, do you want to take part in this? Because I feel like I'm running it all. And then he would complain that I was trying to be the husband. But I'm like, you don't make any decisions. Like, what? Things don't happen unless I do it. And so it's just fresh. That was so frustrating to me. So it's like, I knew in my heart, I was like, I need somebody to help me. You know what I'm saying? Not take control over time. It's exhausting. I'm tired, So one of the other things I like about this guy is just that he does that. He takes control over things. He makes decisions, and I like it. Like he came by. I saw him the other morning or whatever, and it was just like, let's do breakfast, and I thought that was so cool. Like, I didn't ask him to. Like, it was like he really wants to hang out. He wants to see me. I just thought it was nice, to finally feel like desired, for one, and then two, that somebody really enjoys your company. It's new for me. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, guys I've been dating, like, they don't take the initiative. They haven't taken no initiatives. It's always been me. texting them like, what do you think about this? Oh yeah, sure. Like, it's just never, they don't initiate it. And so it's like, I felt like for the longest, I felt like, okay, maybe this is the new normal. You know, women have to take control because they don't know how to. These guys don't know how to take control of anything. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think that's the case for everybody, you know? And so like I appreciate it a lot. Like I do. And like even today, I hadn't texted him as much as normal because I text a lot, and sometimes I feel like maybe I'm texting too much. Maybe I'm bothering him. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe I didn't. You know, like I have all these thoughts. Like I don't want to be too much. You know, and so I kind of like didn't text him as much today, and I was busy. I had the interview. You know, my parents were watching the girls and stuff, so it was just like I had a lot going on, and so he calls me and he's like, I haven't heard from you today. And I was like, we texted a little bit this morning, you know, and he was just like, well, and I think he's just gotten used to me texting him, and I thought it was really sweet because it really seemed to bug him that I hadn't, like, you know, texted him as much as I normally do. We usually have this fun banter because I call him old man, call him like Pops and Gramps because he goes to bed super early, but he gets up really early and stuff, and it's just fun. And it's just like we do that throughout the day, and I guess I was just, you know, being busy, but I didn't think it was going to bother him because guys usually ghost me. Like, it's, you know, I'll text them and then it takes them days to text me back. So I'm like, you know, I'm just like, I don't want to be a bug. You know, I mean, I don't want to bug him, but he's just, you know, I guess he appreciates it because he's in a situation where his wife cheated on him and she's with that guy, and I think it does something to your confidence when I know it would to me if that happened to me. It does something to your confidence when you're into somebody and then they kind of throw you off, and especially you've been together. He's with her about 17 years. It's a long time. They were young, you know. They knew each other from like high school. So yeah, like and I guess when he said that, like, I take account of that. And so I just told him, I was like, you know, I said, oh yeah, no. I said, I had to do this and that or whatever. I didn't want to bug you. I know you were working because he works out of town and stuff. Like, he's a lineman. And I just told him, I was like, but I said, you were on my mind. Don't worry. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was thinking about you. I was thinking about this and this and that. So I was just like, I try to do things to make him feel like special, because that's how I want to feel if I was feeling kind of insecure. Because I know, like, sometimes when you meet with people and then you feel like the dynamic has changed, you start getting insecure, like, maybe they don't really like me as much as I thought. And, like, you know I feel like that. And so it's just like, I don't want him to feel like that because I really like him. And so another thing I think I was thinking about in regards to the ex-wife is this. It's been, okay, so it was a year separation for me and my ex, and then July will be the year, July 1st, I think, be a full year that we are actually divorced. Okay, 2 years separated and then from each other, not living together and stuff, but then a year totally July 1st of being divorced. So I know he's gonna go through a lot of things, obviously, if you watch my videos. Go through a lot. And so my expectations can't be too high when it comes to a relationship. I'm really not looking for that right now. But even if I was, and if I start falling for him more and more, I still got to realize that he has a path to go down. He has a series of healing to go through, and that has nothing to do with me personally, because I know the healing that I had to go through for my ex, and to get over him, and that you don't really, I think, ever get over it. But I would think that, or assume that if someone cheated on me, that would even take a harder hit for me, because it's like she left him, you know what I mean, for somebody else, and that to me would take a toll mentally. So and I know he's gonna have to deal with a lot of emotions, so I'm gonna have to be sensitive to that, and then not take it personal if he has to pull back some, because I had to go through that. Like, I mean, I've done that. So it's just like, I've just got to be mindful. I'll put it that way. Mindful of that, and then also sensitive and to how he's feeling and being just okay with if he has to say I have to take a step back and things or whatever. Will it hurt my feelings? Yes. You know, will it suck? A lot. But I gotta prepare myself mentally so that I don't get super hurt by it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just gotta know in the back of my mind that at any point he might pull back. You know what I'm saying? Because one, I don't want to be a rebound, and it happens. You know, I get it. But I'm not the first person he's talked to since they separated. So, but I know like how feelings can get kind of weird, and you get all, you know. So I've just got to know, you know, for myself to protect my heart, to just know to kind of keep a guard up in a sense, not to be like, you know, oh, I don't want to feel anything, but just to know that at any point he could pull back and that I have to be okay with it and not take it personal, because it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with him and his process, and just being a good friend, and then just saying, you know what, I'll be here. I don't know for how long, because I have a life, but you know what I mean? But either way, I can be here, you know what I'm saying, and not be a jerk, you know. Oh, well, how dare you? I can't do that, because I got to understand it's okay. Everybody has their own journey. And so yeah, I kind of think about that. I kind of keep that in the back of my mind, just as a way to just kind of safeguard things. But I do like where things are going. I think that if it's meant to be, it'll be, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I think that there's a reason why we met. I feel like we're good together. I think that he helps me see that guys can be great, you know. They don't have to be jerks. You know, there are actually real good guys out there. And if that's the lesson I have to learn from him, then I guess that's the lesson I have to learn. You know, people come in your lives for seasons or however long. So maybe that could be it. I don't know. You know, maybe I'm in his life for just to help with his self-esteem. Like, to know that, you know what, you're a good guy. Like, it sucks that your wife didn't appreciate you, you know, and what you do. He's a good dad. Like, you know, just things like that. Who knows if that's the purpose of us coming together at this point. So I gotta think of it that way too. And I did get my nails done, if you noticed. I got my feet done too. Because Georgia opened up and I was like so scared. But I was like, I couldn't. It was pulling my hair, like the little tips. Oh God. And so like, but the thing about that nail place was that you could wear a mask, and you had to wear a mask to go in. And then they didn't let everybody in there. It was just like 3 of us in there at a time. You had to like call for an appointment. So I do appreciate like the steps that they took in that regard, because they didn't let people in if they didn't have masks. And I think they provided some, but you know, most places don't have a lot. So, but yeah, it had to happen. I couldn't take another day. And so so that was my vagueness. But yeah, so like I said, like I really like him and I like where things are going, but like I said, I just gotta take one day at a time. Don't try to look too far in the future, because you don't know what's gonna happen. He could go back to her, you know what I mean? That's also an issue. It's also an option, or has possibility, you know what I mean? Because I know, like, when I was dating people, they always kind of said, well, what if your ex? And I knew in my heart I'm not going back, but you don't really know. People don't really know, because they don't know what's in your mind. So it's like I said, it's just like divorce gets kind of messy and tricky and things like that. So it's like, I know how it is because I'm going through it, and you know, things like that still. There's no manual or self-help book to help you in it in that sense, but yeah, it is what it is. But in the meantime, it's fun. And you know, I just have to live for today and see whatever happens tomorrow happens tomorrow, and just go from there. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm sure I'll talk about it if something crazy happens. But yeah, so along those lines, peace.